right, everyone, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
And I have to say that play has taken us to a very kind of dramatic spot in some ways. Uh, one of the
Fuck.
one of the assumptions of RuneQuest is in its setting that it is taking place during something or before just before something called the Hero Wars for Glorantha. And so it's difficult to conceive of much of the magic and without the concept of some kind of epic world-shaking war about to occur. It's I needed to think a little bit about where your characters are. You are right in the middle of the potential for a massive uh, cultural dispute. And yet, on the other hand, through a series of roles and activities, that doesn't seem to be happening yet. So I was thinking that the best thing to do is what I have done once or twice before, which is to let time travel a little more significantly. That you can, we can, unless there's something that you want to do, like assassinate somebody or carry out some immediate magical event or anything else like that. Um,
Uh,
oh,
Tempting. Only thing I would have liked to do is to talk to Jalla about what she had to say about the black. What she had to say about the paw.
right,
We never got around to that, and what I told her about the meeting with everything that happened there. That's the only thing I want to do.
sure. I think that certainly we can assume that happens very quickly or very soon, and that can be part of talking about what happens in uh, the time to come. There are several things. Um, I already mentioned that Skava. We talked about this, and we actually had it happen in play that you literally became initiated in the events of play a couple of sessions ago, at least. But we are also looking at a situation that is very good for the open way as well. In that, although there is no priest here, the uh, the conditions are so impressive for the cult of the open way, both geographically and in terms of behavior, that it is not absurd to think that the temple that you have created cannot serve as a kind of priestly contact, and that your character is becoming eligible to become an initiate of the open way if you want to be. So um, this is uh, this is often not possible to become the initiate of more than one cult, but your half snake cult is very adaptable for this purpose. And so I wanted to know if you wanted to develop the temple there. At the very least, you can uh, you can I guess the I don't want you to think of it as a machine, but you could activate the temple so that other members of the cult will be drawn there. So if you don't even if you don't necessarily want to become an initiate yourself, you can certainly set up the vibrations.
Oh, sounds good.
Okay. And so that's one consideration. Um, if we are going to continue to have play, move through days and weeks, there are some. You are clearly in what looks like a very fragile situation, but if we let some time go by, even that fragile situation will become kind of a normal, kind of a new normal. As the members of the Merciful Dawn, who landed more like a war party, well, if you don't get to killing people right away, and you end up deciding that you might as well take care of these gardens and help them get those barns built, and to, you pretty much, instead of walking around in your war gear ready for an attack, you are busy using the latrine next to everybody else, and you are busy, after a few weeks of that, the Merciful Dawn doesn't seem quite so immediately threatening. Although it's very exotic, of course. The villagers, the people you are living with, they are very, very uncomfortable with chaos. Remember, they never really liked Zort if he was not accompanied by one of you. And while their opinions may have changed slightly about this, you will find that the priestess is able to get along well with the village because she represents control over chaos. And so they find that kind of comforting. So that's something you should know, is that she's able to, maybe not even being directly manipulative, it is, after all, what she believes and what she lives. So that's that the Merciful Dawn cult is integrating, or at least being functional in a daily way in this area. They were very, very quick to build a small but very functional temple. They were quick. They got the wood, they got the stones, they knew what to do. They obviously have a set plan. And in fact, Zord, it won't surprise you, it looks exactly like the temples that you have seen for the Merciful Dawn before. They have a standard plan, and they know how to build it, and they go and they set it up.
That's comforting.
Yeah. Well, the what it looks like is I'm thinking that it looks non-threatening. Think of it as a longhouse of the Nordic type, except that it's they have built defensible structures outside of it, and it is positioned in such a way that it could be defended by a group of people. So you can't really sneak up on it, and there's no way to attack it without overwhelming force. So it looks like a nice little longhouse, and you say, "Oh, great! People will have plenty of food there. It will be wonderful," and it looks so peaceful and everything. And then you look again, and you realize, wait a minute, they were pretty careful about where they put that, and they were careful about where they cleared space and areas and the kind of paths, and there's windows they can see, from, and it's very practical. So that is the story for the Cult of the Merciful Dawn. You will know, Skava, now that the egg, which had been grown over with some kind of crusty substance, is now considerably larger. Or you don't really know about the egg on the inside, but this crusty cocoon is pretty big. And so it's now the plants have grown onto it in a fashion which is obviously not just on it, but supporting it. So the plants have grown up and lifted it slightly. So now it is perhaps a little more formal looking, a little more staged when you walk to it than it was before, when it was just an egg on some plants. So now it's looking a little bit impressive. So that is happening in the little grove. And now so when we go to the Open Way temple, which is not really, you didn't really set it up as a temple, but it seems to have become a place where people are arriving and they are bringing offerings. So one of the minor holy days comes by of the Open Way, and who knew, everybody brings something. And they have sort of a party where they it's kind of a lot of exchange, I guess. Makes sense. Everybody's giving things to everybody and making new arrangements for what they might do in the next season. So this is happening without you directing it. This is the influence of the god in this place, and it is the reassurance that people feel to have these rituals available to them. Okay, so who am I leaving out? Zort, this is the question. Are you spending any time with the Merciful Dawn? Or are you going to Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking if it's possible to also spend time with the guy from the Storm People.
Aha.
So
well, yes,
least,
but those are two different
At least give him an
things.
earnest try.
Right, but okay.
They are very different. That's why I'm asking if it's possible to at least give an earnest try before, or an earnest look into his view and his ways for making the final decision.
Excellent, and I would love to do that. I also suspect that Urko and Jala will be very interested because he comes from the same place that the giant came from, and he is willing to talk to you about this. Well, the giant was built here, but remember, there was an exile from that area who came to this spot and lived in the tower. So yes.
Quick question. The guy we fought on by the Standing Stone, he was from the same region, right?
Yes, that's right. As far as they are concerned, their warning device signaled the presence of beings that they are hostile to, which is the insect people. They regard, as you may have picked up from Zhong in the previous session, he regards the woods woman as something of a demon goddess, something of a I suppose a kind of witchy Satan figure from his perspective. So, as I mentioned before, he finds the idea of people worshiping her to be a little bit scary. Why would people do that? He is, of course, here because of the he is staying here by his request. So I assume that there's some way to make him a guest somewhere. So the question really is, would he be staying with Urko and Jala?
No. I would like to find a more neutral place for him. Maybe should stay with Igindu because they have at least the possibility to talk to each other without difficulties.
Yeah, and I guess he knows somewhat about alchemy.
Yes, somewhat, yes.